Jess.
Hi.
Jessica or Jess? What do you like to go by?
I'm a Jess.
Jess.
You're a
All right.
Yeah, I'm a
Jess Cobb.
name shortener. Yeah, Jess Cobb.
Jess Cobb.
Jess Cobb.
That's a good name.
Right.
So Jess Cobb with Lively Station.
Yeah.
You're our first restaurant we've had on the podcast.
We're so excited.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a place we've gone to before. We've gone to before it was Lively Station.
Yeah.
Lively Station, and now we've gone to it since it's been Lively.
We were
Station.
there last night.
We were there last night. It was my birthday last night, so I decided to come out.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
He's 21.
Yay.
So we're giving him his first beer.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
Yeah.
Start off right with the Fort George. Yeah.
I love it.
We've moved past the point where they've carded us, so
Okay.
we're at that birthday phase where it's like, we already know how old
that
we
kind
are.
of hurts my feelings that we don't get carded anymore. But
I know, same.
it's okay.
Anytime
It's all
they
right.
do, I'm like,
do you
you're
want to
just
see
making me
it?
feel better.
Do you want to see it? They're
Sure
like,
you don't.
no.
It's like a sympathy
No,
card.
put
Like,
it away,
give me
honey."
your card. Are you sure about this?
Come on.
This doesn't look real.
Literally. Okay, so you were there last night, which was Rob, the bartender, was there. You may not have been in the bar.
Yeah, we were in the bar.
Yeah.
So
okay. Rob
Beard,
and Julia, yeah.
so he was really nice too. He was going around and visiting with everybody and
Yeah.
such a sweet guy.
So he's an OG in Salem. Like he has been a bartender in Salem for
Really?
many, many, many moons. And he and his wife just opened where it used to be Busick Court downtown. They opened a breakfast joint called Honey & Co. That's my plug. Rob's the man. Super excited
Ooh,
for
a
him.
breakfast joint.
Yes.
So what time they open
So
and close?
good. I want to say 7 a.m. and they go through lunch till
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3. I don't know the exact, but he's amazing. Julia's amazing. Julia and I actually, and this has been my favorite part about Lively. I grew up in Salem, and I left immediately as soon as I could at 18, because back then it
Yeah.
was so lame.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think everybody did at 18.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
right. So we hired Julia. This is 3 years ago at this point, maybe longer. And we're just talking, and we realized that we both graduated from Sprague the same year. 03 was our graduation year. And we just became fast friends. Like, we weren't friends in high school. She was a little quieter. I was very jumping off the walls. And so anyways, it's been fun because I've reconnected with people or connected with people I never would have necessarily.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing how people kind of make a full circle. They leave, they come back.
yeah, totally.
The town's changed too.
So much.
Yeah.
We have a daughter who's 4.5. I can't say 4. She would correct me immediately. And we just love, my husband's from Chicago. So like when we first started dating, he's like, I just want to lay this down. We'll never, ever move to Salem. So here we are. And
You're like, I'm good with that.
yeah,
It's okay. I don't want to go back either.
And then the pandemic happened and we moved back, and it was probably the best decision we ever could have made, for so many reasons. Not to get off track from Lively, because that's a huge part of our life, but
Yeah.
it's been
Well,
nice.
I'm sure pandemic, with the restaurants, is probably a huge part of your life too.
Yeah.
Did
So-
you guys own a restaurant before?
No.
Really?
No, we do.
Wow.
Not
You're like,
thinking
this is
about-
going to be great. It's
Absolutely.
all going to work
Yeah,
out.
sure. No, we opened it originally as no, we weren't even planning on. No, we got furloughed from our jobs, and the place came up for lease, which I like. My family actually bought this property when I was probably 10, 9,
Okay.
maybe. My first job was when I was 14. I worked for the Wild Pear. I was their dishwasher for Jessica and Cecilia, who I love. And
Did Wild Pear
Yeah.
used to be there?
Uh-huh.
Is that?
That
Oh,
was
that's
their,
right.
That was their original location.
I forgot about that.
And so anyways, the folks from the previous people who leased it decided not to renew their lease during COVID. And so that came up, and my husband and I both worked for Hilton. He was in sales. He was the director of sales at the Hilton Portland and the Dunaway in downtown Portland. We lived in St. John's. And I did recruitment for corporate out of McLean, Virginia. Anyway, it came up for lease. And so we kind of, at the time, Charlie, our daughter, was 11 months old. And we were like, what are we going to do with our lives? Like, how long is this going to last? What's going on? And so we started brainstorming what we could possibly put in that space. Because my parents were like, we'll give you a cut on the lease, like just a break on the
Like
lease.
a family discount,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the first year.
Okay.
Actually, no, I don't think it was 6 months. And then they were like, you're going to pay the same as everybody else. So we did.
Congratulations, it's going well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Free
So
rides
now
over.
you're gonna pay more. And so we kind of just conjured up this idea. My husband always wanted to open a coffee shop. Like, He's your like very stereotypical Chicago guy. Like wake up in the morning, walk to the coffee shop, grab a beer at noon with his friends, you
Yeah.
know, like
A little different in Salem. Everything's not more of like a 30-minute drive to
Yeah.
everywhere. Instead of
Yeah.
just walking.
yeah, you can hit neighborhoods in Chicago.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh yeah, own a coffee shop. This would be cool. So we like, that was kind of the concept that we started Lively as. It was a coffee shop, a market, and we were going to create jobs. Or, you know, just here we are going through the pandemic. So we sold our house in St. John's and moved down here in August during all the fires, which was
Great
I mean, well, and you guys have kids.
Yeah.
So
we live in Sublimity too, so we got
everything. It was such a hard time.
yeah.
Your husband's like, is it always red and looks like hell? Is this what Oregon's
Did we
like?
move to hell?
Welcome to Salem. It felt like
That's
that
funny.
too, opening a restaurant.
Yeah.
So we ended up hiring a woman named Marissa, who was from Hilton. Praise her for the rest of these days. She helped us create a menu. She would literally cook at her house, drop it on our front porch because it was in the middle of the pandemic, and we'd like run outside and like taste in our house and like conceptualize over the phone until we moved down here. And then we opened with just to go food. The first day, oh my God, it was comical. So the first day we open and someone calls in to like take it to do an order to go. And I'm like, I don't even have how to ring it into the system. I'm like, okay. I'm like, hold on, I'm going to do this. So it was a big market and we did coffee and no one could eat inside, right?
Yeah.
So April rolls around and it's like, oh, everyone can eat outside and your seating spaced. So we kind of just, I don't know, it's been a lot of pivoting.
Yeah.
So we pivoted and kind of got the bar up and running. We flew a friend out from LA and we just sat at a bar one and drank all night. And my mom watched our child and we just created a bar menu and we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And so we did it and opened like the true people sat inside. I mean, we had these girls that were like 19 to 20 years old who were like our baristas who all of a sudden were servers. And we're just, you know.
You're like, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna work out.
Really?
It's good.
So every day was a learning experience. He just kind of went into it winging it.
It still
all
is.
the way through.
It's still
Yes, still 4 years later. Yeah, but it was though. And we lived, so there's two properties. You guys were there last night. So you have the main building and next door is a building that's painted the same color.
Mhm.
Upstairs is actually a 2-bedroom apartment. We now Airbnb. And downstairs, is
You were
event
asking.
space.
I wonder what they do there. We pulled in, and he's like, I wonder what happens.
Well, she was
over
like,
there.
"Is this used to be a train station or
It
something?"
was. That's how we came up with the name. Sorry,
so that's
there's
what
so
I was
much.
asking Brian. I was like, because we were talking about like when you come in and the way that it's laid out. Brian's like, it's interesting because the bar's in the back and like they have all the stuff in the front. And I was like, I wonder if it used to be a train station. He was like, what? And I was like, well, there's train tracks. I was like, in Lively Station. I wonder if this used to be like a train station because it would make sense.
Yeah. So it was for about almost 2 years. And what's really cool is we have so much of the history of this building and like old original photos that we have kind of scattered throughout. Like when you first walk in, you see this couple who actually is like ends up being one of our regulars, her great aunt and uncle in this photo, but it's of the train depot that was there, and it was called Livesley Station, which is named after Thomas Albert Livesley. And his history is really fun. He was the first hop trader between Oregon and Western Canada,
Wow.
which is, I'm like, we love beer
Yeah.
and all that. So anyways, but we didn't want to take his namesake, so we changed it to Lively Station, and there's a fight whether my dad came up with it or Anton, my husband, came up with it. We don't know. No one's going to talk about it. We were probably drinking beers in the smoke outside at the time. But that was how we came up with a name. And then the bar was the old meat locker.
Okay.
So that's what that was. And then the front was like a hardware store way back in the day. And then so the event space off to the side is the old, where people would come from the dairy farm and get their feed.
On the
Wow.
left side when you walk in or the right side?
Yep. So when you come in and there's like kind of the bodily
Yeah.
shop area, that was the hardware store. And if you go out on the patio, was the old feed shed.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So it was like an old school mall.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Literally, like you come and then upstairs, a family of 12 lived up there. So we just do our storage up there. But there's a lot of people on the team that feel like there's ghosts downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's
There's
like,
gotta be.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
gotta
100%.
I would promote that.
Yeah.
I would promote that
Do
there's
a ghost
ghosts.
tour.
Yeah.
I had one guy one time that was like, I will literally pay you $50. Just let me go
Yeah.
down the base.
I say, oh, you want the haunted seat, right?
Yeah.
You get
You
it'll
the
be a
base
little
one.
extra, but we got a haunted seat, and have someone go and move it every once in a while.
Yeah.
Just throw something down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Be like,
then-
that wasn't me.
Yeah, I swear. And then the Airbnb in the event space was the old dance hall. So it's really cool. Like the whole
Wow.
community. Anyways, it's adorable. But that was how we came up with the name. It was a train station.
See, I was right.
You were
I'm
right.
very excited.
Super sleuth.
Yeah, there you go. And it was just a
She
wild
knew.
stab in the dark.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we had a good time last night. We had a couple of drinks,
Okay.
and then I had the was it a pheasant?
The hen.
The hen.
And
Yeah.
that's a new that
Yeah.
just came on.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
heard you guys have a new menu that you just like rolled out. I'm trying to think of the gal that was there. Blonde. Really
Julia.
cute. Julia.
Mhm.
She was so sweet.
The sweetest.
Oh my gosh. I love so
Best.
she, as we're talking, we were saying something and I said something about birthday and saying that it was like his birthday, but just like mentioned it in passing for something. I can't remember what it was. And she comes out with this cheesecake and she was like, "It's on us. Happy birthday." And Brian's like, "How'd she know it was my birthday?" And I was
I
like,
said it just like that. How did you know?
Me?
Me?
little no, he was like, "How did you know it was my birthday?" And I was like, "Okay, so Mr. Two Old Fashions, I said it right in front of you." I was like, I wasn't
think
hinting
that's
at
probably just
anything.
normal
Yeah.
with husbands. You're like, oh, and this is the third time I'm telling you we have to pick up the children
Yeah.
this day. Yeah.
He was just so impressed, like, "How'd you know it was my birthday?" Sort of thing.
They had a whole conversation, and I was just kind of staring and just
Eating his
No,
head.
no.
eating my hand, I guess.
Good.
It was really good though.
Yay.
It was
Yeah.
good.
That's awesome.
And the presentation was great too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and-
our kitchen's amazing.
I'm a big presentation guy.
Yeah.
he is.
Same.
Yeah. You got to make it look good and taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what did we try? The empanadas?
Empanadas.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever had one before.
Oh, okay.
So good.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, a lot of times when a restaurant opens, they go for the easy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna like fry basket and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it's almost disappointing sometimes when you see it. Oh, there's a new restaurant open up, and it's the exact same menu
It's like, here's your mozzarella
as
sticks.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to see some. You guys are taking chances with things, and especially never doing this before. I mean,
Yeah.
jumping out there and trying new things and seeing what sticks. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you guys come up with your menu and like this needs to change? This definitely needs to stay.
Yeah. Smash Burger has to stay. It's our number one seller. It's been our number one
Oh.
seller.
Did you
from
know
the
that they had
beginning.
one?
I didn't know that.
He totally would
I
have
didn't get that far on the menu. I didn't flip it over.
He
all.
stopped at the hen.
There you go. That we have the best burger in town. No offense to anyone. I love Bow and Vine. I love all the other places. Like
Yeah.
for sure. But that there's a couple things. It's just like they'll never go away because they're just
Staples.
yeah.
Mhm.
We have a lot of repeat guests because we're butt up against a huge community of people that have been nothing but incredible to us and investing in us. And like I would just say the key to every piece of success, whether it's the menu or the cocktails or just like everyday success, is everybody else. I'm just the worker bee, and everybody else makes it
Yeah.
be what it is. So our menu, Jen Harding was our first executive chef, and she, I mean, is my work wife till I die. She's amazing, and she was the one who really got us through probably the first year and a half. And Uriah and Jen just are amazing. So anyways, they kind of carried us through. And since for about the last year and a half, her husband, Nathan Harding, they met in culinary school. He came from Andina in Portland down to us, but previous to that was a traveling chef for hotels. Anyway, he's incredible.
Yeah.
We have Logan Hober, who is another one of our chefs and culinary trained. We just I try to be really nice and give them beer at the end of the night and hope that works. But it has. And we just have amazing people that are like creative and thoughtful and put love and care into the food.
Fully invested in you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And in themselves, and like when their food goes out, it's on it. They feel like it's them. And it's the same with the cocktails. Daryl and Tina are incredible cocktail artists. Like we have so many drinks on the menu and they create everything. It's not like they Google and like pick something and put it on
We've
there.
seen that before. You know, or we've seen that like, hey, can you make us like a margarita? And then you can see them over there kind of looking it up. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
what is this going to taste like?
If you put me behind there, that's what it would be.
You
But
make a great margarita, by the way.
Yeah.
okay,
So.
there you go. And I think, you know, fresh squeeze, like that was really Anton and I's idea at the very beginning was we've traveled so much for work and in our personal lives that it was like, we want everything to be genuine.
Mhm.
Genuine. That was it. Like, let's be humble in who we are and genuine in what we're doing. And so it's like everything has to be fresh squeeze. I don't care if I'm paying $24 a pound for the scallops that go on the surf and turf, and we charge $40 for our surf and turf. We probably make no money on that dish, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like, that is a quality dish. Someone can come in and you can eat something that you really, really want. We'll make money on the smash burger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that has just always been our rule of thumb. Moving into food is like, let's be creative and push. The empanadas are from Nathan, and he spent so much time at Andina, and their empanadas are better than ours at Andina, but ours are awesome.
Yours are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You guys are at a very interesting location too. I mean, it's one of those places like, how does anybody know this is here? But also like everybody in the neighborhood knows where it is because there's nothing else around it.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are kind of like almost like on an island by yourselves out there, and you kind of have to really rely on the surrounding community to support you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we kind of stayed steadfast. It's funny because you look at my husband no longer works on property, which was always our game plan, because in restaurants you can find no balance if you don't really, really try. You have to put so much effort into it to find balance. And part of it was like he had to step out and get a different job in order for us to like not be working every night. It was it's too consuming. It's too easy to be like, well, I'll work days and you'll work nights and we'll save a little bit of money, you know, because it's our...
We'll never see each other, but yeah.
Which we didn't. The first 2 years, it was like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So we separated that, where it was like own location. But it's funny to see who the regulars are that still are like, where's Anton? You know, just different personalities connect with different people. And I'm, to me...
They know which night they show up to find their favorite waitress or a
100%.
bartender.
Yeah. Some people love Daryl, who's like a show and flipping things around. And some people love Tina, who's like a little bit more mellow, but like really precise in everything she does. So everyone gets something different. And to me, if we're just going to go down to the baseline of what life is all about, it's making connection, you know, and having human, that's for me personally. So lively is that for me. Like, it's not, I can't cook you anything you don't want me to cook. Definitely don't want me to bake anything. And I can't make you a drink, but I can drink next to you and I can have a great conversation. So it's like one of those things where we both brought two different things, and that's what everyone who's on the team does too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because when you come into something where maybe you're not the expert in everything, but you can find the people to bring in to fill to put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some people come in like, well, I'm a chef, and so we're gonna have everything I make on my menu, and you either like it or don't like it. But you're coming in from the outside and like, well, this tastes good, this doesn't taste good, and so you're able to kind of put together the menu based on, and then bring the people in to put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where your recruitment background really kind of came in?
So I thought that was going to be the easiest part. I was like, oh, the people, I got this. It's been the hardest. I would say it's just the hardest in general.
Yeah.
We've probably had in the 4 years that we've been doing this over at least 75 employees. But like right now and always on staff, about anywhere between 25 and 30 employees. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard to find people. You can find people who cook, but like who are passionate about it. That's kind of our line. And we've had some amazing people over the years, even the people that have left. And always like kept a step. But like, for example, on the menu, you have 3 people that create the menu, 2 of them which are culinary trained. Some of the stuff, like when they're like, let's put the Jim Shia, I can't say half, like the pork caramaru. Like, it was like literally I had to sit with them for like 30 minutes.
You're like, say it again.
Yeah,
say it again. One more time.
Yeah, that dish is amazing. It's like one of the best things you'll ever eat. And that's what I like about us, is that you're going to eat something that you wouldn't get necessarily anywhere else in Salem. I mean, there's a couple other players, Epilogue for sure, like that do stuff that's a little outside of the box, but I love my team for that,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to stand out when in a kind of a crowded field, is to put something out. It's different from everybody else. I mean, what is Salem like as far as that you've found out for restaurants? Is it conducive to a business here in Salem? I see a lot of restaurants, come and go, but I don't know if it's falling apart from the inside or if it's falling apart from the outside when you see them kind of disappear. I've seen some restaurants like, I can see why they left. The food went downhill. They couldn't keep staff, and they're gone.
Or location.
Location, yeah.
I don't know how anyone survives that. Quite honestly, like I literally don't. The only reason we do is like we're not just a restaurant. We have a food truck. We have event space. We have we have chefs that can execute, an insanely busy dinner night and also do a plated 45-person rehearsal dinner in the greenhouse. Like this takes a lot of luck.
Yeah,
I would just say, and just being like very straight up honest. Like I think mine is probably derived from a lot of privilege. And when I say that, I think I grew up feeling very confident as a person because I was with a family who cared so much about me. And like, there's a lot of people out there that don't. Mm-hmm. And I never have known that since I started this industry. Like, people have such incredibly hard lives, and I think that I'm able to be who I am as a person because of my privilege, which has helped us. I think also luck. I think also my dad does a lot of the maintenance around the whole place, even though he's 76 and like half blind and can't hear anything. And he thinks everyone is me. Everyone's like, yeah, Harlow, do that. But he's amazing. And so I think that the answer to that is I honestly don't know how people survive it, because it is food. I mean, it's like everyone hears it. The food costs are crazy. Uh-huh. I mean, I don't pay my cooks minimum wage. I pay them way more over, everybody. So it's like you have the cost of paying your employees, so on and so forth. I don't know. I feel like our recipe has worked because I also work 7 days a week and I'm a relentless like energizer bunny, and I have a husband who understands that's like part of how I find self-worth as a person. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, having catering and I mean, what do you think is, if there was like a pie chart, do you think what's taken up the most as far as the company? Is it the catering? Is it the dining part of the restaurant? Is it the bar? Or is it
definitely the food? Like the restaurant portion of it and bar would be the largest. Okay. The food truck and then we have an Airbnb today.
So where's your food truck?
I was going to say, tell me about the food truck. I've not heard
So
of
we
this.
go out. We call it Little Lively. We do wineries. We go to people's homes. We were just out at Dallas Golf Course for a tournament. But really, so we just bring that up. That was a wild hair. I'm like a very impulsive person.
You're like, we should do a food truck. We cook food here.
Yeah.
How can we take it places?
Great idea.
It seems so easy. It's just like you pack up all the stuff, you throw it in a truck, and you're good.
This can't fail.
I'm like at 11 o'clock at night scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, oh, they're selling their food truck. Should we buy it in a ton? He's like, no. And I'm like, I'm just going to look at it tomorrow. Then I get back and I'm like, we need to buy it.
So I bought a food truck.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like Brian all of a sudden one time decided that we were going to own a coffee truck. Like we're coming back. And
I don't
Addie.
remember buying this.
We didn't buy it. No, but he full on had like by the time.
It was for her.
For me.
It was for Addie.
Oh, it's for our oldest daughter. I was
Okay.
like, I don't want a coffee truck. So we were driving back. I think it was from Detroit, and she happened to bring it up. Like, maybe I could do something like sell money, sell coffee on the side, make some extra money. And then it was like, I could build a little cart.
Yeah.
And Brian's like,
You could pay way through college.
yes. And
I'm
he's like,
liking
all of a
this.
sudden, he's like got her whole life plan figured out. And he's like Googling different ones. He's finding them on market. And I'm driving. He's like, what do you think about this one? I was like, what are we doing? Like, are we
And my
really
daughter's
buying-
the same way. She'll sit there and scroll and start researching and all that stuff. So
Yeah. So the two of them were just ping ponging off of each other. And I think by the time we got home, one or both of them legitimately thought we were going to go buy a coffee cart and like this was going to happen. And I'm like, let's take a little bit of a step back and this is a great idea, but let's like think this out a little bit.
And we both have ADD, so it just kind of fizzles away after a while. So
Yes. And then all of a sudden they got home and they're on to the same or like a different thing.
Yeah, I bought the truck and then I was like, the next thing. I'm like,
Figure it out.
Yeah. Literally, it sat there for like 6 months, and then Nathan came on. And he was like, "So what's this like food truck that's branded and looks cool?" Like, I was like, "Oh, I bought that one day."
We're going to do something with it at some
someday.
point.
it is a cool
Thank
idea.
you.
I mean, a lot of food trucks, they have to be parked somewhere. They have to be
Right.
working every day. So have that option where you can let it sit for 6 months is probably cool. I
Yeah.
mean,
So we do like tomorrow night we have live music in the lawn, and we'll have the food truck going so like people can sit in the lawn and get drinks and get food, but the restaurant's still going. So it's like, again, kind of going back to like failures or just mishaps in this industry, very specifically. Food goes bad. I mean, literally, we opened the restaurant in December of 2020. Then it was that immediate ice storm, and Anton and I are like, all the lights go out, and we're like, what do we do? Like all of the
Everything's-
electricity out.
you-
We don't have it.
you got a timer now.
Yeah, literally. And it was like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And every time the ice storm hits and like restaurants have to close down or like whatever, it's like, it's not fun. It's literally the worst, actually. So
Wow.
there's these things that happen where if you have your own business, we're like, why did we choose this? Because if you have a business that real estate where you like, not that that's actually better right now, maybe necessarily, but people should always buy homes. But I think you have a little bit more lenience on how you get through something like that.
Yeah.
Like restaurants, it's like you live and die by every day. Like you lose a day, you lose a day.
I mean, the power goes out like, oh, I guess we're going home early, but you guys like are,
You're like, oh my gosh.
everything's crashing
Yeah.
down.
There we are.
Right up.
But my husband and I are very like, you get married to someone or you pick your life partner and you hope that you can get through all the great times, right? You're just like, that's easy. But it's like the hard times. And we had a lot of hard times at the beginning of our marriage. I, in 2017, was diagnosed with cancer. And so that was kind of the catalyst of like really us feeling fearless going into an endeavor like this, because people are so important to me. And, you know, the idea of creating jobs and creating this community was really exciting to me. And we were able to have our daughter in between then. And then my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So random and not laughing, but it's kind of funny at this point. Last year. And he's fine. And we're both fine. We're fine.
I appreciate you adding that in there because it's like,
And
I need
everyone asks that.
I need some finality to it.
But those are like those, even if it's just you have these big rocker events in your life and you don't know whether you're going to sustain or not. And that I feel
puts a lot of things in perspective.
so much.
And then when people say, oh, I'm having a hard day, it's like, really? Are you having a hard day?
Yeah. How hard.
Let me tell you about mine.
That's it. Yeah. Not to be like, hey, David. But I do. David.
I totally got that.
Hard. But I do think that those pieces, circling back
you're
to
good.
like how hard it is to do this, I think you just, again, resilience.
Yeah.
Like how resilient can you afford to be or can be personally.
Yeah. So our version of, hey, what would it be like to open up a restaurant? And we started watching The Bear. Have you seen that?
Oh gosh, I'm about to rewatch the third season again.
We're on the second season, and I've lost the rest of my hair already.
Yeah,
Just watching
so
it.
stressful.
It's so
Yeah.
stressful to
Ding,
watch.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, the stuff you're talking about is like, oh yeah, their power went out. They're trying to find freezers, and it's like they're barely scraping by, and it's like, this does not look fun to me.
No.
No, it's not fun.
No,
Yeah.
we finished an episode and I looked at him. I'm like, "Do you want to open a restaurant?" He's like, "God, no." I'm like, he's like, "No, I'll stick to photography. I'm
Yeah.
good."
Well, and I think that I love the bear, which there's so many theories out there of what the like underbelly of what that show actually represents, but just at its the baseline of what it is, like restaurants are so incredibly stressful, and
Yeah,
they get into it in the third season, and there's a clip where he gets home from work and he's worked in the kitchen all day and he just lays down on the couch and he's gross. Like, you're gross working
Yeah.
on the line. I mean, it was clocking all last week 125 degrees on our line.
wow.
Oh
And
my
these guys
gosh.
are just like, no, Jess, we'll stay open. And I'm like, really though, like, I don't care. Like, let's just close. It's not. But they do it because they love it, or maybe they love the pain of it. I don't really know, but they'll stay
Everybody
there.
sees surface level things when they walk in, like, oh, this is a cute restaurant, and I'm gonna buy it, and that'll be my table over there, and people just bring me drinks, and
Yeah.
I'll own the restaurant, and that's it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's maybe helped us a tiny bit in that one of the questions you asked was like, how do you create the menu and do those things? Like, I'm kind of an outsider. I just kind of sit there and I'm like, my brain works as a business owner. My parents were entrepreneurs, and my dad owned a masonry company, and my mom did all the books, and they did it insanely well. And I got to watch it, you know. Their bonuses were like, hey, do you think Kim Hoffmiller should make $5,000 or $10,000 this year? It was like yelled in the house. It was just like always around us. So being able to like sit back and look at it from a business perspective, like I would say like our chefs aren't the best at disciplining the employees. Like they're like, oh, it's okay that you did that, you know, but they're great at cooking. So it's like if you can, as an owner, kind of catch those falls and not be mad at it, like
Just know it's part of it.
yeah, like we're all just humans trying to do our best. You guys have multiple kids. I'm sure your life is literal chaos at all times. I'm just assuming.
We sleep a lot.
Yeah.
No.
So much. So much
So
sleeping.
much sleep.
Yeah. 8 hours every day. Yeah. They're like, exercise every day, sleep 8 hours.
Yeah.
We're talking about like, oh, time blocking. I mean, some people are great at time blocking. It's like
We can't do it.
Can't do it.
We've tried it. And like you sit down and it's like from this time to this time, you're going to do this. And one of the great things is we can do a lot from our phone.
Yeah.
One of the like pain points is we can do a lot from our phones.
Yeah.
So when it goes off, it's like the time blocking just goes out the window.
Well, and it's hard. And you don't want your kids seeing you be on your phone when it's like, I'm not just doing like nothing. I'm really actually trying to work. That's for me,
Yeah.
very hard.
They consider this one and the same thing.
Yeah.
Our oldest daughter is so funny because like our two youngest will be like, put down your phone, like pay attention, which they're actually really good at telling us that. So it's like I actually appreciate that. But our oldest daughter will be like, do you see all these things that you have around you? Do you know like horseback riding lessons that you go to? You know, and she'll start listing off things. She's like, it's because our parents work. And I'm like, yeah,
Sure.
tell him, Addie.
But it's true.
But it's like it's almost a good reminder to us too. Like, oh, wait a minute, like
And then she'll follow up with, I need to go to Target. Can I have a card?
yeah. Yeah.
my gas tank is empty.
Yeah.
so
So
can
can I
I?
have money? I know. I'm like, we have to do this so you can have 1,000 stuffies, Charlie. Yeah. I just think I think at the basis of anything, it's exactly like you said, you walk into a restaurant and you expect a certain thing. Like we're all just humans trying to do our best. And like really, I don't feel like that's the case always, but I would say very strongly at Lively, who we are and at the core of like every single person that works there, they just care. They care and they put effort into it. And it's like, they don't just care about the guests, they care about their teammates and stuff. It's beautiful to watch, quite honestly. And I get to have, like you said, your kids see what you do. Charlie gets to come and she loves setting up for events and stuff like that. And I don't know.
Do you see her working there?
I hope not, but yes, I think she will. She's like, I want to be a mommy and I want to work at Lively Station. That's her
cool.
dreams. But yeah.
Yeah, none of our kids want to do anything we do.
No, it's really sad.
Well,
like, do
she's
you want to
only
be a
4.
realtor when you're older? And they're like, no, no, that looks horrible. I was
Yeah.
like, it's great. And they're like, doesn't look like it.
Right.
Like, yeah. Or do you want to be a real estate photographer? They're like, God, no.
Yeah.
No. Hard pass.
Yeah. Right.
So,
I
but
feel like that'd be fun.
I one of the things I really liked when we were there yesterday, because I have a lot of times we go into the podcast. Brian's done a ton of research. I go in a little blind sometimes. So I'm like, who we meeting today? Sort of thing.
Cool.
And so we're in there, and everybody that was working there that we could see, I was like, well, that seems like the owner. Well, that seems like the owner. Well, that person could also be the owner. Brian's like, I don't think any of these people are Jess.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, but they all, you could tell they all had like buy-in with you guys and your business, and they all seemed to like care about everybody in there and care about what they were delivering and everything. And I think that's that.
Because some restaurants you go into, they're just kind of over in the corner, like, hello, and they're like,
another customer. Yeah, great.
They want-
No, but
they
it's
want
like
a
your
refill.
people there were so excited to like see everybody coming in and like have conversations with them and that sort of thing. And I thought that was really neat.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
special. So
Well, and you had last night, I'm not going to say his name because he's only 14, but we heard this little 14-year-old.
he was
you
the
guys.
sweetest.
Oh my gosh.
He brought us our food.
Best interview I've had. And I'm
Really?
literally not kidding you, like 2 years. He wrote me the cutest letter and it was labeled Miss Jessica and dropped it off. And I was like, okay, I mean, it's hard to hire a 14-year-old. That's really young.
Yeah.
But he came in, it was the best interview. And I'm like, what great parents do you have that you were able to do this? He's like, when you first opened, we saw you down at Thompson's. We lived down from Thompson's, McMinimans, and Charlie loves Thompson's. So anyways, we meet these people, but he, like that right there, this kid's going to remember for the rest of his life. His very first job was when he was 14 years old at our restaurant. Cool.
How cool is
Yeah.
that?
You know, and it's fast and it's a very adult environment, you know, in the kitchen and all the way around. And he's just, yes, he does everything you tell him. I don't know. It's just, I love seeing people that I know are going to change this world. That kid is going to.
Oh, 100%.
Hands down. And
He had great eye contact, by the
Right?
way. Yeah.
so, like,
Yeah.
it's just adorable. And I think that also is so fun about this. It's you get to see people, and I sit in every single interview and every single person I hire. I was like, I better be a stepping stone for you into your life. I just don't stay here forever. I mean, please do. Some of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, stay. But I hope that when you leave here, you feel like whether you've made friends or funny times or whatever it is, I hope you go forth and,
Yeah.
you know,
And you send them off with a little bit of, you know, what you've taught them a little bit.
yeah.
At the,
Or some of them leave and are like, Jess, really? Like, come on. I mean, I'm sure there are. I know there are some out there.
They're like, I took a step somewhere.
away from her, which is fine too. But yeah, anyways, that's the fun part about it.
wow. So what's in store for you guys as far as you got catering, you got food truck?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys doing weddings, like that type of catering, or is
Yeah.
it?
Mhm. Yeah, we partner Lily Kay, who's her and Josh own First Commercial. She from the RIP, because they live up the street, has been a really huge supporter of ours, and
She's so nice.
so she's ridiculously
I know.
nice.
I know.
And I'm like, how
And
do you
she's
do
pretty
that?
and, like,
she's
all the things.
You're like, come on, how does this happen?
What's your flaw?
Yeah, there is not one. But they just bought a spot, and she's been so kind. She just, you know, I think, again, part of it is, and you guys know this in your industry, it's all about, it's word of mouth. So she's been kind and sends us around. So they just opened a venue in McMinnville, so we do a lot of stuff out there. But yeah, we do, this year, our goal, like when we went into this year, was consistency and communication were our 2 words. Every year I have 2 words that the team just kind of tries to live by. Doesn't always happen, but we try. And growth and catering. So that was like, those were our 3 goals this year, and we did it. I mean, we're doing it. We'll continue to do that. We have Ironman this weekend, so everyone's really busy, and we bring the food truck down. We're at the event. which we were last year.
So what kind of stuff do you guys have in your food truck? Or
Smash burgers.
Yeah.
Our fish tacos are like,
I almost got
So
those
good.
last night. And I got
that's
that.
usually her default is the fish tacos.
I actually
so.
ordered them and then changed it to the salmon.
okay. Well, I mean,
So,
the salmon
was
good,
amazing. Yeah.
But the fish tacos are just like, we buy from a really cute little microgreens place. So like, it's just, we try to be fresh, blah, blah, blah. But the Calabrian salsa we make in house is so good. Get them next time.
Okay, I definitely will.
But
They'll get the smash burger. Yeah, we'll get the fish tacos.
Yes, exactly. Bring it down a step. But yeah, I think it's just kind of maybe our little bit more mellow. We have a quinoa burger that we make in house. It's vegan, so we try to like really accommodate to different crowds.
Yeah.
But that's usually the route. It has to fit on
A food truck.
Yeah.
a little small space. So
Well, you got to get another truck just for drinks.
Yeah, I know. Yes, correct. That's the next step. So yeah, I think just growing catering is a huge piece of it.
Yeah.
The restaurant is our kitchen itself, like the line is probably the size of that wall right there. It's very tiny. We probably have one of the smaller kitchens. Maybe W Wallace has a smaller kitchen, but we're probably second. So it's turning out food. There becomes a wait, and that's not great. So we have to figure that out. So catering's the way, I think, and then eventually maybe open something downtown.
Ooh,
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
You're like, it's gonna be great.
It's
all gonna be great.
Add it to it.
watching these restaurants and saying, "You're gonna close, aren't you? Yeah. You're gonna be mine."
I really like your location.
They see and they're measuring. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I just do this from time to time.
Yes. I know. Well, some of the fun things like that Cozy has done and a couple of different places that we have kind of dabbled our fingers in are like they do winemakers night, and I know Rudy's does it every once in a while too, but that was our whole idea when we moved down here was like, let's bring a little bit of Portland and Chicago and all these different places that might be a little bit different. Yeah. So.
You guys do music there?
Yeah, so we have someone tomorrow. We have
But not on my birthday.
a couple of people. I know. We skipped a couple days.
I should have said it's his birthday.
Yeah.
Bring the music.
And you're a Cancer, which is like, that's the best. I really one of my best friends is a Cancer. I love Cancers. They are.
Yeah, hers is next month, so she's
Oh,
what are
you're a Virgo.
A Leo.
Leo.
Oh,
Okay.
Leo.
Leo.
That's, okay,
Yeah.
Aries. We're
There you go.
kindred spirits. Yes. We're fiery. Yeah. But
Lucky
yes,
you.
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Right. Yes.
Yeah. So a cool place. I like the idea of you guys starting out another one downtown and big growth things coming up, hopefully.
Yeah. I think so. I think with the team that we have, everyone really wants to grow. And so I'm just kind of along for the ride.
Is it tough with food service type of industry, just finding people and keeping them? Or is it different from like other industries where it's just a different animal and the expectations are different and the people are different coming into it? They know what to expect when they go into a restaurant.
100%.
Really?
It's like I thought I was going to be the best recruiter in the entire world. And it's like, oh, I was offering people jobs at $75,000 to $100,000 a year. So that was easy. It was like dime a dozen.
Yeah.
This a little bit different. It's a grind. So it's, servers make minimum wage and they work off their tips. And so events creates this kind of like fun piece to it where they make a little bit more money when they do events, but it's offset. We keep our core like serving staff a little bit thinner and just give them full-time jobs rather than just like, 3 shifts a week.
Mm-hmm.
They are full-time worker or full-time people at our business. So that works in our favor, I think, to a certain extent because they're vested. It's if you make a good cocktail, you have a person that's going to be coming back to you, and like Tina, she created this thing probably a year and a half ago, and every single time I'm like, yeah, Tina, we'll do that. Well, yeah, we'll do that. And it was a passport for our cocktails.
Oh, cool.
And I finally did it for her like 3 or 4 months ago, and it was like the best.
What is that?
greatest
Is
thing
that
ever.
almost like a stamp type
Yep,
thing?
exactly. So you get a sticker. We have 20 cocktails on our cocktail menus, and we rotate that in our menu 3 times a year. But that. Once you hit 10, you get a free appetizer. Once you hit 15, you get an entree, but you can share it. So like we have people come in often and they're getting like an appetizer and then they're they're like we can have.
They're
I'm
like, we got
cool.
another one.
Yeah, which is cool. That's perfect.
Is
But it
like
keeps
they
them
have to-
coming back.
They have to like sample, like try a different one each night, or they can just come get the
So
free-
once you've had 10 different ones, you get a
Okay.
free.
Oh, you can't have like 10 of the same one. And
Yeah,
then be
no,
like,
10 margaritas, Gary. Sorry.
Well, I mean,
I'd be like, I can knock this out pretty
exactly.
easy.
Dun, dun, dun. Give me a different mark every time. They
Give me
probably
one of those smash burgers.
give me that.
Another fish
She's
taco.
turning. Yeah. We're like, ma'am, we made
This is supposed to be spaced out over like 5
This
visits.
can't be within 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
We're just pouring them down. You're like, yeah. But,
Put it in one big glass.
yes.
Then bring in my free appetizer.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fishbowl.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
There.
fine.
Yes. We're going to have just one free appetizer. Yeah. So anyways, the team's creative. Yes. But I think finding people, the kitchen's the hardest, I'd say. Because so is serving. Because you want them to be like nice and fun and exciting
And engaging and
and not in the corner being like
Yeah.
looking at your phone or
It's like, you got a tablet, just order from the tablet. What are you talking to me for? But be sure to give me a tip at the end of this.
25% is suggested.
Yeah. You can play games on that tablet. It just costs you $5. but-
And it's like that's the other part of it is I truly feel like our staff does a good job, but there's days where it's like it's so busy they're just like, hey, what's going on? You guys good? We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like it's how it goes.
I've always wondered, do you guys teach, I don't, you guys probably have this issue, but we've had issues with other restaurants. Is like, you try to
You're
get their,
just dogging on other
you try to
restaurants.
get their attention.
I mean,
and
I'm here for it. I will listen.
it's like you try to get their attention, like, hey, can we get some like silverware? And they're just like beeline straight past you and they don't
You're
hear
like,
you. You're like,
So when I lived in Maui, and R.I.P. Bubba Gumps and all of Lahaina, but when I lived there, I worked my first job there was Bubba Gumps, and they had, if you've ever eaten at a Bubba Gumps, stop for a stop and go for a go, and
we have pictures. Our daughter has that. Actually, when we went to Disneyland.
Yeah,
They
so
had
you
one there.
have to stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's your table. And I was always weeded. I was the worst server. It's like 19. I'm like, I don't know where the ketchup is. They're like, bartenders are putting red wine on ice, and I'm going to tables. I'm just to be mean to me. Anyways, so I had that idea in my head. So a lot of what we do is it's really like, it doesn't really matter. That's part of being a team. You have to stop at a table no matter what. At the beginning,
Even if it's not your table.
yeah. So
That's
we
so
try.
nice, by the
Yeah.
way. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, I'm not saying it's not always, but that's what we.
That's the
teach.
goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because
it's
matter.
mostly it's like, well, let me get your server. And then your
Then
server.
you feel bad. You're
Yeah,
like,
then the
I'm
server
sorry.
comes over pissed off,
I'm
looking like, yeah,
sorry.
what did you need? Because I
Yeah.
just got yelled at.
Yeah, you're like, I just need to catch up.
I just needed a fork.
Yeah. My food.
Yes. So we try to not. So like my food, I ordered. I'd like that.
So like everybody here is done.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, did you have to kill the cow, or like, is it being brought in the back?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yes. Yeah, that happens. But I try. I don't know. I think just being team and also making sure that the front of the house and the back of the house are friends, which it's like, even when we're, Anton and I come from the hotel industry where like a tale as long as time. I used to do events and I'd be like, so chef, like they added like 45 people and like it's tonight. Like here's the banquet event order.
I'm so
Wow.
sorry.
Have a good day. Do you need a coffee? We try to like eliminate that back of the house, front of the house riff. And it's kind of like you go into service, everyone knows that someone's going to be frustrated at some point in the night. None of it is taken seriously. When the open sign is off, all of us are just kumbaya again, and if you try to remind people of that, it's good. I
Like
think
we're all on the same side.
yeah.
It's like, oh, the ball's in your court, so you got to figure it out, and
Yeah.
we'll just sit here and wait for you to finish.
Yeah. And I also think from the hiring standpoint, I think because I get to hire everybody, I'm like, I want them to be funny and humble and hardworking. And whether they know the job or they don't, there's most things you can teach. But if you're those things, I'm like, you're going to work well here. So we have a very funny team, a very self-deprecating team, which is like,
Yeah.
that's like the core of who I am as a human being.
You're like, it's my love language.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can make fun of yourself. Great. So I think that has worked in our favor where I've always said, like, if it doesn't matter, like, in a night, something's totally going to mess up. It's going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
But if you can just recover well from it, it doesn't matter. Like, I literally don't care if something goes wrong. If you drop a whole tray of glassware, which that's one thing I did not know about a restaurant. You have to buy so much glassware because people drop them all the time. But I think that knowing that it shouldn't be scared is a good piece of it, you know?
Yeah.
So
I remember for our wedding, our photographer told us, and it was probably some of the best advice. He told us during the event, something is going to happen. Oh, no, this was at our consultation. He said, you need to know during the event, something is going to happen that is going to feel like a really, really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to move past it, and it's just going to be like a blip on the radar. So just know something will happen. We don't know what it is.
He
but
did
it's
put a
gonna...
memory card on the camera.
No. No, I got
That would be
pooped on
bad.
by a bird.
Yeah,
and so
good luck.
when we're that's what he said.
I know.
That's why you were right.
Yeah. And so we're getting ready to take the pictures, and I actually get pooped on my shoulder by a
Grand.
bird. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, see, wait, it happened. We're done. Now we can just move on and have a great rest of the night. And I'm like, this was my thing. This was like the thing.
Why?
Why?
But
Why couldn't I like step in mud or something like that? But it totally changed your mindset too, that like, okay, something's going to happen. Nothing's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Just how do you like pivot from there?
Yeah, but I think that's that way in life about everything. I did that. I walked a gentleman who was a CEO. I worked for Salesforce, and I was walking him from Hilton, New York, Midtown, over to Radio City Music Hall, and the bird pooped on his head, and he had black hair. And I was like, oh boy. I said the same thing. Well, it's good luck. He's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it
So
feels
we
like
got it
great
out,
luck.
Slicked back his hair, went on. But I think in those moments that are these like huge things, I always say to brides, like, nobody knows what your vision is. So if something doesn't come together, like nobody
knows.
cares.
Yeah.
Like they're like, you have free booze and food, like, and dancing. Let's go. So it's just, I think in everything we do in life, and there have been many moments
Yeah.
in owning this restaurant that I was like,
So what's the worst thing that's happened there?
oh God.
You didn't even let her finish her.
Like,
I know.
I mean, medical things have happened. I
Oh.
had a team member have a seizure. I love this girl to the depths of this world. And I did not know what to do, and I freaked out, and I got her in my car and like drove her to the hospital. And the whole entire time, she didn't stop seizing the whole entire time.
Wow.
And we get her to the hospital, and like literally 2 days before, we had talked about what medication she was on, and I was like, bam, 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 like all these things. So medical things, we had something happen to another team member just a couple weeks ago that we had to call an ambulance out. So I think medical things are huge and like very frightening. Oh gosh, but so many things. I mean, literally you
Yeah.
couldn't, they're all comical at this point, but yeah, just people getting irritated, there's a lot. Just
Oh, I bet you.
drunk people.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun.
Those are
that
the
don't
that's where you have to
remember.
have that nice sense of humor, right?
Yeah.
The self-deprecating sense of humor.
You're like, this is great. This is going to go
It's all gonna be fine.
You're
It's
really dragging
great.
me to leave. Yeah, when at 8 people walked up the stairs and tried to get into a fist fight with a husband and wife who had their newborn baby on the back deck.
What?
What?
And the wife was like, hey, let's just be a little quieter, please. And they did not like them saying that. And then it turned
They're like,
into
now we're
this-
fighting.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
I'm like, how is this a thing? So I think, which has happened so little, they were coming in. And you gotta move on from that. But yeah, I think just, laughter.
Well,
Here we are.
well, you always have to have a interesting day to get to the employees coming back, right?
Yeah, literally. It does. It does. Yeah. No day is the same at all. Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody that was thinking about starting up a restaurant?
Oh, don't do it.
I know, I knew you were going to say that.
No. It's funny because people ask me that all often. If you asked me 2 years ago, literally that would be my answer. Don't ever do it. Ever. If you can get through the first 4 years, then it gets better. And just like in any business you start, what do they say? Like after 5 years, you start making money. But I think if you just put like the financial piece of it aside, because like some people can't withstand that,
Yeah.
right? You can break, I mean, we've broken even every single year and it's growing and it's doing good, but it's not like we're literally breaking even to do it. My advice would be exactly what we've been talking about. Stay humble, be gracious, and be thoughtful in your approach of what you're doing. Because again, it's like you're just serving food. And what it really is all about is like bringing people together and creating community. And to me, I think creating core memories. So if you think back to anything you've ever done, it's like you think about the people you were with and the location in which you were in. So to me, it's like every single person that comes in that building, that's what you're creating as a core memory.
Yeah.
So that.
Do you think it's turned into like, it's one thing to break even, but to break even because it's some place that you love and it's supporting people and supporting you staff, or, it's a living for staff. It's a living for you. Is that what kind of drives you to keep going forward with it as far as year after year? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I would say that the fact that when we go into our leadership meeting every Friday and the people that are in that specific meeting are stoked and excited and like, what are we going to do? Like,
it's infectious.
Yeah. It literally makes me be like, okay, I'm on, every Friday. I'm like, yeah, it's like nice going into a weekend. I'm like, yeah. So I think, yeah, it's if the team's on board, I feel really on board. If the team's rocky, I feel rocky. I'm very, I definitely want people's like, what's the word?
Like their energy.
Yeah. And I need them to like me and to like what we're doing. And so I think that part of it where I'm not a leader or a person who ever makes a decision. I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? Okay. I feel good about both of those. Like, what if we took this and this and like we put it together? Like, to me, it's all collaboration and figuring out what it is. Like, I just reached out to Silver Moon, and 2 towns just collabed on doing an F cancer beer and cider. So I reached out to them because I want to do an end of the year bash, but I want it to be about, I want the underbelly to be cancer. So I'm working back with the Oregon Oncology or Salem Oncology and like working with these people to try to like, to me, that's what it's all about. If I could do something like that creates so many of our customers, guests, people that support us have had to go through those journeys and we have. So it's like this, shared.
Is this still in the works?
Yeah. So we'll be doing this I'm hoping like the tail end of the summer, end of August or early September, to create a very specific event. So anyway, I just think that the community piece of it, bringing that together is just, that's what keeps me going.
What's been your, like, is it word, you said this is very word of mouth as far as your restaurant goes. Is that the way you grow, by word of mouth, or how do you think you guys grow from here?
No, I think we need to do more than that. But I think, it's there's very little things. Like we just went to family building blocks event that they do, the 2-nighter out at Bryn Mawr. We were there one night. I think there's just little things we do, and I usually do marketing through community events, and that will get the word out there to people that maybe don't know about us, or the food truck. Like, the food truck was a horrible investment. Let's just all be honest.
But it's a great idea.
So good. Such a good idea. But it was, even if, yes. It's marketing.
Yeah, it's a rolling billboard. Just drive it around downtown. Just say, hey.
Literally.
Yeah.
So that part of it is like, I do think we need to invest more in marketing. Like I do our entire Instagram. Like we've just never really, I don't have time. Let's be honest. I don't have time. This morning I did our beer order and reorganized our wine and did our wine order and then cleaned the Airbnb. And then after that I had to go set up for the event that we have tomorrow night. And then thank gosh, my mom picks up my daughter on Tuesdays and my husband works till, as everybody out there, we all just have a lot on our plate. So
yeah, it's tough. You're so busy, but you need to do it so you can keep growing. And then all of a sudden everything stops and it's like, that's all you have
Yeah.
to do. It's
Yeah.
just like
Literally.
cruise around on Instagram because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, but more marketing would probably be good. Like, we set up with Laurel Bice, amazing photographer, who we've befriended. Her daughter's name's Lively. She was born 2 weeks after we opened, and anyway, this whole thing. So she takes photographs of our food, but I'll let 6 months go by, and I'm like, oh wait, we need more pictures.
Yeah.
Just
because your menu keeps changing.
yeah. And I'm undiagnosed ADHD, and I just I'm like squirrel, and procrastinator, and
yeah, I get it.
that's why we're great at doing all the things. There's always balls in there.
Like how I just call you out.
Yeah, it's sometimes you come up with these ideas, but you need someone to kind of help implement them, or at least you get them going, and then someone else kind of takes it from there.
Yeah, so I hired a girl named Maddie who's incredible. She's so good. People around the city know her because she's been a server in the city. Anyways, she's incredible, and I hired her on as an event coordinator. So she I can, doing a banquet event orders. I mean, there's the event side of it is just like a full-time job of someone. I just do it, 8:00 hits, Charlie's down, I'm good, and I do that. So bringing her on. So it's like bringing on the pieces and the people that create space for me to like focus on other things, which is hard because that's money. It's like this balance of you got to spend money to make money thing.
Yeah. It's like, how much, there's only so many hours in the day, and how much time can you spend doing this thing when you could spend it doing something else?
Right. Which has been interesting. So you said we're kind of in the, where we're located is in the land of nothingness. But for anyone listening to this, everyone listening to this, Stomp down the street from us, Croft Vineyards, they do amazing pizza and they have amazing wine. That couple Amber and John have been incredible. The folks down at Minto Island Growers who are amazing, and also the people who just came into Magnolia at the Salem Golf Course, like the four of us kind of band together at times, and Anton and I will never forget, like probably week 3 of us opening, the husband down at Minto Island Growers, he came up and was like, here's the deal. Someday you're going to edit. Just be okay with editing. And I think that is something that's really hard for my personality, is to edit things out. I'm like, but that makes Dina happy, or that makes, Jennifer happy. And I feel like I have to keep doing it. We'll take menu items off the menu and people are like, oh,
how dare you?
That was my one thing I liked.
Sandwich? Yeah. You're like, well, I don't know. It wasn't that great, guys. Those things I've started doing, and I think that at this point in this venture, the most important person to edit is myself and what I've been taking on, because my team needs me to be strong, and I have to be good about that and creating boundaries, which don't exist in my world.
So. It's hard.
So hard.
Yeah. And I heard somebody one time say, to have a successful business, you need to hire people better than you to do the things that you want to execute.
100%.
And that's like a hard thing to wrap your brain around, especially as a business owner, because you're like, well, I'm supposed to have the vision. I'm supposed to be the one that like is the doer of everything. So like pass some of that off or give up some of that control. That's a hard thing to wrap your brain around.
Yeah. And mine's more time. It's like, I feel like if I'm not there and present in front of people 7 days a week, that they're looking at me like I'm not a present or hardworking owner. It's
like she's checking out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably more my thing, because I don't really care. I know I'm not very good at anything that happens there except for events, that was it. That was like, I'm going to give this to her. And guess what? She killed it. Like you have to be willing and okay with that. And my type A personality, that is hard, but it was specifically over events. Like, obviously I don't know anything about cooking or the drinks. So that was easy. Mm-hmm. The events part's like, this is who I am.
This is my wheelhouse.
Being. Yeah. But yeah, you just got to do that.
I love it.
So how do people get a hold of you or find you? I mean, because we're talking, we know where you are.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe the other half of Salem doesn't even know where this is at.
Yeah. So you can find us on Instagram or Facebook. I post often on both of those platforms. We're out South River Road towards Independence. You can hit us and then stop and go into Independence and float the river.
You guys are right on the corner, right where you turn over, heading towards like Illahee or heading over the
railroad tracks.
the road tracks,
Yeah.
heading to Independence over there.
Yeah, so out South River Road, and we hit a lot. We post often about where the food truck's going to be going and when we have live music and the events we have going on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We have events at livelystation.com if you're looking for events, or you can email me direct at jessica@livelystation.com. I'm always available and ready and willing to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, Jess, thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you
was
guys.
fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, it was good to hear about it, and because a lot of times you go to restaurants, like, wonder who owns this place.
Oh, I was guessing everybody. I was like, that's the owner.
They
No,
do. They
that's
all
the
do
owner.
own it. They do. They really are. They're the heart of the house for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for coming
Awesome.
out.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.